Hello, I needed to organize my oracles today. I noticed there were some that I couldn't see. They were starting to get piled on top of one another. And, I just knew there were ones I wasn't thinking about using very often. So, since I was already tidying them up and looking at them today, I figured I would also just show you, like, just kind of a collection video. Um, what I've got and maybe also what I use them for. I think in general oracles are really versatile, and because the decks are obviously, I have a lot of tarot decks, so I'm not even one to say, oh, I don't need another tarot deck because they're the same. I have no ground to stand on for that. But oracle decks are even more varied, I think. They can encapsulate a wider range of concepts as well. Um, so I don't know. They serve a lot of functions for me. Some of them I think are prescriptive. They'll say, hey, do this, do that today, work on this, work on that today. Some of them are just good for like shadow work or soul searching or really, contemplating emotional prompts, so on a very basic level. Sometimes they can be great for just identifying emotions. I know that's something that I struggle with. So sometimes having a card or an illustration to just flip through and be like, okay, this works. I guess a more complicated version of that old chart they would have up in schools with the different emoji faces and be like, identify the emotion you're feeling. Just a more fun way to do that, I guess. They can be used to end or like wrap up a reading, like when you're finished with a reading and you go, okay, I just want like one final message, put a little bow tie on this, an affirmation or something like that. I think they can be used really simply too, even if you just want to kind of set them around like on an altar or use them in kind of a talisman way. Like if there's one you want to carry around with you in your purse or your backpack, one you want to put in your car or set on your work desk or something like that. Like there's some I even like to keep in my kitchen for when I don't want to do chores and stuff. I'll look at it and remind myself of what I'm trying to accomplish by keeping the kitchen clean and things like that. It can be anything really. Or, I think they can be handy in spells just as a focus or something to enhance whatever other items you have out, maybe herbs or crystals or something like that. I think a relevant oracle card can be helpful for that. Some of them are even useful as reference materials, right? Like, animal, plant decks like that are pretty popular. And if you've got other decks, other tarot decks that, you see an animal in the background and that deck's guidebook doesn't mention anything about it, well, I suppose sometimes an artist might include that just as background filler, but maybe the meaning of the animal has some relevance. And so a guidebook to an animal specific oracle might have some more information for you. I know that's a frequent use of mine, because if you've seen any of my videos where I go through, certain cards within the tarot deck, I'm always like, oh, this animal's showing up a lot. And none of the guidebooks mention it, so. Sometimes I'll keep them out as well if it's involved for like a monthly or a weekly card, something I want to contemplate for more than a day. Or if I do a year spread, like this year, I actually pulled oracle cards with the tarot cards to accompany it. But yeah. And you can also do, if they're a bit of a meatier oracle deck, I usually do have one that I pull from every day along with a tarot deck. And, I'll read through the guidebook and, think about any prompts that it gives me. Yeah, it's just might be more useful for journaling or contemplation or just thinking about something on a deeper level if it's got a really meaty guidebook. I don't know, kind of offhand, that's just what I think of various uses for them. Oh, and clarifying, I can't believe I didn't mention that. I mean, obviously you can use tarot for clarifying as well. Like if you've got a spread and one of the cards in the position of it, you're just not really sure what to make of it, a lot of times you can pull an additional card from an oracle deck to clarify it. Yeah, so let me just start pulling them out. Actually, I'll show you where I have them now. Not that it's anything fancy, but you know. Okay, so all of my stuff is actually just right under my desk here. I'm just using a kitchen desk organizer. I've just got them in there. I did have them in like a bin on the top here. The top is just flat for this organizer. And I realized I couldn't see things and I was starting to stack things up. So I switched to this box. So I would just have one layer of oracles, and then the smaller box down there is for the Season of the Witch, because I do like those and use those pretty much all the time. Yeah. Item I've got under there, and that's just the Season of the Witch oracles. Oh my god. This is just a box that I had. It used to be, it came with like a gift basket, and I always repurpose boxes and things like that so that I don't need to buy them for anything. You can see I've actually got one of them out right now, this one here. I think it's this one that I have out right now. I start using it at the Sabbath holiday, and then I'll use it through until the next one, and I'll switch to that next one. So like maybe it'll be then, and they've all got, you can see they are associated with each of the Sabbath. I like these. One, the guidebooks are good. I think they give you like a good amount for each card, so there's pretty much always something to kind of think about. And what I really like is the decks are perfectly seasonal. I'm in the Northern Hemisphere, and these perfectly match up with the seasons for me. So, you know, it really is basically mentioning seasonal activities, seasonal things to enjoy and engage in. So I guess kind of like I was talking about earlier, sometimes you can use an oracle for prescriptive purposes. These decks don't necessarily tell you to do anything. They're using these as prompts. But for me, I basically use them as kind of prescriptive things, like things to try and do and enjoy during the season. I like how I said that while I was on here. Like, I don't have any Reaper activities planned for the holiday, but you know, maybe metaphorically, okay? But yeah, you know, just try and get together with friends, enjoy some liquor, maybe have a pomegranate, like, you know, just something, do something in season or seasonal, just to connect with the land. So I really love the art and the imagery in these decks, and they're all seasonally related. So this is a fall Sabbath, so it's got fall imagery. That's kind of how I use those. Okay, this one I just picked up recently as well, and it's got kind of similar vibes in that it's a prescriptive, it's a cute box, a prescriptive deck where it gives you like suggestions for what to do each day a lot of times. And then, you know, just have a nice little guidebook as well, little mantras, things like that. So just a good self-care deck, like it says on the tin. And the art's really cute as well. I got this used actually at a Second and Charles, so I haven't really had a chance to try this yet. I was happy I found it at a cheap price, because I knew it was one that I wanted to pick up eventually. So yeah, just another one where it has a little suggestion for something you can do each day to feel better, to connect with your body and take care of yourself, right? This is the Oracle of Mystical Moments. I have the tarot as well, you know, but I liked the the art so much that I picked up the Oracle too. It's just got this cute little guide here. But I just feel like it's very, some of them have prompts that you can kind of start with, like, you know, you can pull a card, Tiny Triumphs or something like that, and then pull either think about a recent tiny triumph or pull a tarot card or something like that to remind you of one or make you think of one in particular. So really like when they have helpful keywords like this on here. And they're also very dreamlike. So I enjoy that. I get a lot of like intuitive thoughts. My mind kind of flits from one thing to another when I'm using this deck. And I like the shape of these too. Like it's like a little longer and thinner than usual, so I find it easier to shuffle. There's a Crow Tarot, and this is a Crow Oracle as well. Again, I like these because, you know, they've got the beautiful images, but also these keywords, which I find just very, very handy, even beyond the guidebook, which is a good guidebook. I will say I do enjoy the guidebook. Let's see if we can zoom in a little, if that makes it easier to see. Yeah, I honestly think I might like this. I think I like this oracle more than I like the tarot. Sometimes I have a little bit of trouble reading the tarot, and I feel like some things are shoehorned in to fit the cards. I mean, it's definitely not bad, but yeah, I struggle a little bit with the tarot, more so than this. This I just feel like is really useful. Okay. Yeah. You really can't go wrong with an oracle that has just the single keyword at the bottom. I feel like those are really handy for a lot of the purposes that you might want an oracle for. And this one, this is one of the ones that had kind of fallen behind my other ones, so I really haven't even used it till I got it. This is the sort of style that I basically never go for. I think I got this in one of the Hay House subscription boxes, which I canceled because I was afraid of continuing. I just thought with the type of stuff Hay House puts out, I thought I might continue to get ones that I just didn't connect with on an art level, because they're just not my style. But when I look at this, I really can see how it would be very easy to use. Like, I would probably use these as prompts for like a larger spread. So, you know, I would probably, like, if I pulled this Order in the Forest, I would probably lay that out and then maybe pull 3 tarot cards. One for cleansing, one for releasing resentments, and one for making amends. And, you know, I think that's, you know, that could be really useful. So I do really want to try working with this one. I don't necessarily connect with the artwork, like I said, but I think this is a well-made, like, functional deck, right? And I like the colors. I like how colorful it is. And I do like a lot of the prompts. So I think I could become attached to this if I gave it a shot. This is another Hay House one. This one I did actually end up liking quite a bit, though. It's a little off my usual style, but it is quite pretty. I will say I do hate when they put one of the cards as the back. It is a pet peeve of mine. I don't like it because if I'm shuffling or whatever, or when I just pick up the deck, I don't want to be thinking about a particular card every time. So, you know, These are actually quite pretty. But what I like about, see, there it is. And they have two keywords, basically. An entity and then a keyword. So yeah, I mean, you can use it just like the other ones as a clarifying card, or as a prompt, or set it up on an altar, that sort of thing. But what I like about this, and I think it says it on the back of the box, it comes with free audio downloads of guided meditations. So for each of these cards, you can go find the meditation for it. So you could use this to, you know, pick a card, reflect on what's in the guidebook, but you could also use that as a way to choose a meditation that you would listen to that day. And they're also very voiced in a very calming manner. So they would be great for if you want to listen to something while you're falling asleep as well. So I think that's a really unique function for this deck. And for that, I do very much appreciate it beyond the pretty artwork. So this was a good pickup. I'm happy with this one. The Earthcraft Oracle. This is one that's a little meatier in the guidebook, so it would be a good one for a daily draw, so you've got something to consider. And it's also occasionally prescriptive. So if you're looking for something like, oh, you know, you want a little encouragement to maybe do a spell occasionally, or just see, because it's got like practices that are included, or like affirmations. You know, it sometimes gives you a little something to do, right? Water exercise, self-reflection practice. So if you're just looking to encourage yourself to be more mindful and maybe try out a little bit more variety in your magical practice, beyond just reading the cards, I think this is a really good one. And the art is also really lovely. Like, I love these colors. I love the style. Yeah, it's really beautiful. This is one of the earlier oracles I picked up and worked with a lot when I was starting. So I think I'm gonna have to pick it up again. I'm looking at some of these cards and I don't remember them as much. So yeah, I think this deck has a lot to offer. And Juliet Diaz, Lorian Anderson. Are these the secrets, the seasons of the witch people? Lorian Anderson and Juliet. Okay, apparently I just secretly have people that I didn't even recognize that this was the same duo. Or, oh, okay, so it's because the art's by a different person. Illustrated by Giada Rose. And then, okay. Well, apparently I like what these folks have to say. because I keep not even knowingly purchasing their items. Here. Okay, this is another hay house that I picked up individually on its own. This is how the other people had liked it. Sacred Medicine by Asher Frost. And then I love this art as well. And this one has more like affirmations and like mindfulness. Right? So these are more like meditations to do, or like little moments of mindfulness, I guess, is what I would call them. And then, you know, I especially wanted to pick this up because the land that I live on in the Midwest is, I think, Anishinaabe land. So I did want to pick up this deck in particular, just because of that connection as well. But I mean, even beyond that, it's just a very good deck, right? Yeah, and I've often put these out on my altar just so that I'll see them. because I do like this one very much. I really like this card. I just love paths. I always love when a card has a path on it. Yeah, it's also kind of a large deck. Yeah, 56 cards, so I love this one. It's so bright. And the birch trees. Yeah, so this feels like a local deck for me, and it's just a good deck, period. This one, which I messed up the box for, oops, my bad. The Seed and Sickle. I think most people know about this one. This is it's just a good deck. It's just a good deck. It's got the 2 different guidebooks, Dawn and Dusk, so you can choose which one you want to refer to, whether you're looking for help relaxing or looking for motivation to, you know, get off your butt, I guess. But I've liked them both, so it's a unique system, which I think is cool, and beyond that, the art is just killer. I mean, they're just really beautiful. The color choices, you can't go wrong with this deck. So I would consider this a plant deck specifically. So like I mentioned before, it's one that can be used as a reference. And of course you can pull this as, you know, any sort of clarifying where you're asking like, what energy is at play here? Because you're not really sure in the original spread. As you like. And then it does have some spreads in here, I believe. Yeah, I don't usually find myself doing spreads like this with oracles. Maybe I'd be curious if other people do. If I were gonna do a more extensive spread like these, I would use tarot cards. Like I don't really use oracle cards like over and over and over in spreads like this. So I will admit I've not really done many like that with any of my decks. It's just not how, I don't know, it's just not how I use them. I don't know, I'm trying to think if there was a time where I just pulled over and over from an oracle deck, like 5 or 6 cards, and I don't know that I've ever done that. Maybe I'm missing out. Maybe I'm missing out. Who knows? While I'm doing that one, here's the other one from Inkrite, which is also incredible and really unique. So shape's unique. This is the Citadel. I really wanted to get the special edition because the special edition does have like an additional small deck. I think it has different backs, but you could mix it in with this. And I like, you know, I like the Seed and Sickle enough that I was like, I know I'm going to love this one. But I just couldn't, at the time, I had never bought like an expensive deck or anything like that. So I couldn't really justify the cost, but now I still think about it. But now I don't want to do it because I already have the deck. So I'd be paying that price just for the additional cards. So anyway, there's just an insight into my indecisiveness. But yeah, so this one is more of an archetype deck. And that's another type that I like to have in my toolbox as well. I actually really like archetype type decks. I find that that's what I use a lot of the time to clarify. So like the ones that have really deep concepts and a, you know, a big, you know, guidebook section, I would probably use those for journaling, or I would just be pulling one card for a concept to focus on, or maybe the end card at the end of a spread just to close everything up. an archetype deck or an animal deck or a plant deck. Those are more of what I use as clarification. And I believe these can be used as like part of separate games too. I've not done that. I'm curious about it. I think more information about that was in the special edition, but I don't know. I might have to look into that in the future, but definitely a very good deck. And this is actually one of my favorite Oracle decks. If I could only have one Oracle deck, I guess I would want one of the ones. Okay, if I could only have two Oracle decks, I suppose one of the ones I wanted would be something that's got a big meaty guidebook and really gives me a lot to think about. But the second one I think would be this. It's so useful. Like, it's simple, but like it's so useful. One Oracle that I want that I don't have is the Reclaim Oracle, and I kind of use this in the way that I would think I would use that, right? It's just got two emotions, right? Or qualities, I suppose you could say, whatever. And it's got that on every card. They're basically the opposites of each other, or like one's positive, one's negative. So there's 40 cards, but this is one of the few decks that I allow to have reversals. Like, there's 80 possibilities, really. And it looks simple, but you've got the keywords, the opposite keyword. And then you also have illustrations for both sides. It might be kind of symbolic or line drawings. Might have little people figures. And then they're also split up into regions or environments. So there's only these 4 colors in the deck. This is, I think, a saltwater environment, rainforest, freshwater, and desert. This is by an Aboriginal artist author. So I think those are probably environments within Australia. And I just think that adds an extra elemental touch to it that you could consider as well when drawing this. And I just think that these are so useful. Like, sometimes I want to clarify and I just need a keyword, right? I need to know whether I should be looking at something positively or negatively, and then, you know, more specifically, like, what emotion are we kind of talking about? And I find myself reaching for this a lot of the time because I think it works a lot more straightforwardly maybe than some other oracles that might be talking about an additional concept that you analyze before you can apply it to your tarot deck, right? But yeah, big fan of this one. This one, a Yogic Path. I was actually using it this month as my daily reader. It's got a large guidebook. And each one, it's not really prescriptive or anything like that, just gives you something to contemplate. And it's split into a couple concepts. Oops. So you have spirituality, like spiritual concepts, Ayurveda, chakras, yoga poses, I believe, or asana, yoga concepts, and then deities as well. So really enjoyed this one, and the art is quite lovely. So I wouldn't say it doesn't really have keywords at the bottom. It's more of a concept that it's kind of guiding you towards. So here's another one of mine that's got kind of shoved to the back, so I haven't worked with this one as much. It does have a guidebook as well, and I do like the art on this one. So this is another one where even without the guidebook, it's got these keywords and pretty expressive art. So, you know, I think, you know, pulling standstill, you know, there's a lot to work with, even just kind of intuitively from this deck. I really feel like it covers a lot of, and it's got a lot of cards too, like here's card 60. So there's just a lot of details in this deck. So I'll need to work with it more often because it does look really solid. But there's the name of it. And Wisdom of the Oracle. Kind of like the Mystical Moments. Oh, this box really sticks. It's just these collage decks just have a really like whimsical and dreamlike state. I really love having some decks like these because sometimes I just want something to kick me out of like logical thinking and into more intuitive and whimsical and creative thought process, and this does that pretty well for me. So, you know, just having something like a llama at a crossroads, you know. It just works for me, yeah. It's got a chunky little guidebook too. And the backs on this are lovely as well. A classic. Okay, so this one is also excellent. Maybe I'll do all my animal decks now. Got the, well, yeah, I'll just get them all out because I do have 4 of them. Okay, so this is Woodland Wardens. Oops. And this is like a lovely papery feel material. This is just a really well made and beautiful deck. The art on this is gorgeous. I saw it was quite a distance from me, but I was at like, you know, a witchy shop, and they had large prints of these, a lot of these cards. And that makes sense because the art in here is really gorgeous. And these actually have a pairing of a plant and an animal. It's like wolf and rosehip. So this is a really good combo deck. And, you know, especially if you're familiar with one or the other, either plants or animals, it's a good way to get familiar with the other in an easy way. But yeah, it's just very pretty. The colors are so well done. Even these backs are. And the Animal Apothecary. This is an animal deck as well. I want to say it's kind of combined with like affirmations as well, because it's got these like little phrases on here. It's a little bit more whimsical. And so I do think that they're very different. There's place for both in a collection, and that, you know, this could be great to pull as like a daily affirmation. I mean, it could be a clarifier as well, right? I mean, because it still works the same way. Yeah, a very different vibe from the previous one, the Woodland Wardens, but I think they're both really excellent, and I love the art style on both. And I love in general that Oracle decks come with like reasonable sized boxes. So many of my tarot decks I do not have in in their original boxes because they're like the big Llewellyn ones. And I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. I don't have space for that. So this one is the Wild Unknown Animal Oracle. Animal Spirit. Yeah, Animal Spirit Oracle. And it did actually come in an even bigger box. But if you'll notice, there's really not a lot of marketing copy on it. On the side there was, like, just the name of the deck, and I just covered it with, like, the sleeve that came over the box. Mine was a little beat up, unfortunately. But it looks so nice and clean that I just kept it, and I'm using it as a little jewelry box. So I'm still repurposing the box. I just didn't, you know, I'm going to use the little box that was inside of it for the actual Oracle. So I can't be having a box that size in my little Oracle storage space. Like, it's just not going to work. So yeah, this one I just recently got, so I haven't worked with this one as much, but it has a ton of cards, and it's got the elements on here as well. So I find that to be like a useful starting point as well, like something to think about that I'm more familiar with than maybe a specific animal's energy, right? But again, this is also a useful reference. If I see any of these animals in another tarot card, I can, you know, look at the guidebook for this deck and get an idea of what that animal is associated with. But yeah, these work to clarify, and, you know, you can leave them out on an altar, or if you just kind of want to embody that animal's energy. This, I guess I should show you, this is the Wild Mystic. This is actually the one I've used the most, and it might just be because I got it earlier on, but I don't know, I really tend to reach for it for clarifying, and I think it's because it's got the animal, but it also has this keyword, and I love the keyword being on there, right? Like, I just find that so helpful. So this is the one that I really find myself reaching for. It doesn't hurt that it's very pretty. If it looks a little dusty, that's because it is. I put, like, you know, that playing card dust or powder that you can get to help make cards like shuffle better. This is the stickiest, like, most stick together deck that I had ever gotten. I think it's a little bit better now, but it used to be so hard. Like, these cards didn't even move against each other. So I think that helped a little bit, but I think just time helped as well. And you can see they're kind of ragged because of the gilding. When I got it, they were all like stuck together in one clump, and they had to be individually separated, which I don't mind, but it did leave it kind of ragged on the edges, which also, again, I don't mind. I'm just saying that's why it looks like this. And I don't think there's any avoiding it. Maybe unless I kind of sanded them down a bit. But yeah, so I just think this is beautiful and very useful as an Oracle deck. Yeah. I have these two. Again, I think these maybe were in another Hay House subscription box. And I have really not used these. This one, I know why I haven't used it. Okay, and I'm going to show you. These are very pretty, and I feel like this is a popular one, but there's so much like beach, ocean, space energy, and you know what I don't like? I don't like the ocean, and I don't like space. I am a forest and rivers and ponds girly, so if it looks like it's hot and I'm going to get a sunburn, I don't like it. So, you know, that's kind of pretty, but, you know, it's very pretty. I'm kind of curious to use it because, like, you know, it's got keywords, right? That could be really useful. And like, I see the vision, okay? I see how it would work for folks, but I'm opposed. So I don't know. I should give it a shot because it is very beautiful. Like the colors are very pretty. And then again, this is another one. Now, see, this is more my vibe. Cold. Lush. Green. I like that. So, you know, I think I might actually, yeah, I had kind of hidden the Hay House ones at the back. And that Mystical Shaman Oracle, which, is that Hay House? Yeah, that's Hay House as well. Yeah, those are the ones that I had set towards the back and wasn't really seeing. So I think I'm going to try working with this one before I try the Starseed because, and this is more my vibe, just aesthetically. I don't know, this looks kind of deserty, beachy. That's better. There we go. I'm not going to get a sunburn there. So yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a very silly thing to not vibe with. Yeah, I think that I will put this one out front to work with this one, and I don't know, maybe I'll make it one of my monthly decks. Oh, now this one is one of the first oracles I bought. Because I did see people talking about it on YouTube, and they were very correct. I think this is a really excellent one. This is another one where you can do like deep dives, good shot. Again, the dust is from that powder. These are, this is another one where these things just did not want to slide when I got it. So I'm not super particular about it. It'll disappear one day if I use it enough. So this is good for deep dives, shadow work, you know, really getting into your feelings and journaling. Probably great as an ending card after a reading. I think this is a really beautiful and really deep deck. And the guidebook is really helpful as well. So, I mean, I would highly recommend this one. It's got good age representation as well. You know, you've got some younger figures, but good diversity in this deck, right? Yeah, I like that it's got some cards about sad topics, right? Like, I don't really need a deck to be all lightness and happy and cheery. You know, because that's not always when I reach for a deck, right? Sometimes when I'm up and around and in a great mood and off doing other things and seeing people, sometimes I slack a little bit on my practice. But if I'm feeling down, that's when I really want to turn to the cards. So this is just, it gives you quite a bit for each card. Like even just holding it and looking it over, I have so many feelings of just like happiness and comfort, and I just really like this deck. I feel like I've done a lot of good work with it. A classic. Okay. My hatred for, you know, the boxes that they come in is just, this is the Tea Leaf Oracle, like the Tea Leaf Fortune cards. Look like this. So this is just a box that I got at the dollar store around Valentine's Day, and it fits them perfectly, and I think it's cute. Are the colors matching? Not really, but that's fine. I'll just keep an eye out for a box that does match in the future, and I'll be happy when I find it. But for now, I'm perfectly happy to use these. And usually when I'm using them, I'll use the big organza bag that they gave us, that they give you when you purchase it. And it's got a good guidebook as well. And it has a ton of cards. This is the most cards I've ever seen in an Oracle deck. And they are you know, they just cover every topic here. Some of them are months of the year. Some of them are astrological houses, I think, or yeah. And they're just cat. Also, I like that they're round. It's fun. So I just think this is really unique. I don't have any other deck like this. You can use them for clarifying. Usually I remove the months of the year if I'm going to do that. I find that it can be confusing if those show up, at least for me. So I just kind of separate them out into the different types of cards if I'm going to do that. Like this is what the box looks like as well. So if you needed to find it. But yeah, it has a couple suggestions on how you can use them there. And it's just a larger box of the same type. These are mixed. These are the 3 maybe there are more, but I only know of these 3. The 3 pocket edition of the Goddess Oracles by Alana Fairchild. There's an Isis one, a Kali one, and a Kuan Yin one. And I got all 3 of them in the pocket version. Like, I am a person who loves guidebooks. So it's very unusual for me to like voluntarily buy something with a smaller guidebook or no guidebook at all like these ones have. These ones are just the card. And then on the back, it has information about it here, like a short message. So I think you do get more information if you get the guidebook, like the larger full-size version. But I specifically wanted all the pocket ones, and I wanted to mix them together. I have a particular use for these. I like to shuffle them. It does take a little bit of time. I have to do it in parts because it's so huge. It's 3 decks together, and I just mix them all. You know, I'll just try not to like look down at them while I'm shuffling or whatever, and I'll shuffle the whole deck while kind of contemplating. And I like to pick one just at random, and I'll set it down on this side, and then just pick another one. They're still kind of sticking together. And then I'll pick another one on the other side, and I'll basically ask, how do I get from this state to this state? And I'll pull a tarot card. I'm just grabbing a deck that I've got out right now. And I'll ask myself, okay, how do I get from here to here? And I'll pull like a bridge card. And I'll use a tarot. And that's why I wanted to mix the 3 decks. I just wanted there to be a lot of extremes of emotional state and of possibilities. And so, basically the Kali Oracle I had really wanted for a long time because I felt like it addresses feminine rage, or just like rage in general sometimes. And not a lot of decks do that. I'm actually looking for more that do that. So if you have recommendations for like really good shadow work, especially revolving around rage, I would definitely be interested in that. But anyways, I just, I felt like that was kind of one extreme, and then it also has very, happy, positive cards as well, right? And I feel like there's a really good mix with a mix of those 3 oracles. Like there's the badass stuff, and then there's, happy and light stuff, and vice versa. And so I thought that just kind of set up the possibility for some really interesting jumps. So like for this one, I'll go like maybe this is kind of where I'm sitting now. So, this is saying that there's a series of events that's in progress and happening right now. Trust in the doors that close just as much as the doors that open for you as a result. So maybe maybe there are just forces outside of my control right now that I can't do very much about. But with this, I'm asking, okay, like how do I get to focusing on something else? And that is here. Kamala Devi, peace, certainty, and beauty. Melting frustration into inspiration, fatigue into replenishment, and overactivity into effortless attraction. So, peaceful contentment. Yeah, sure. How do I get from this frustration with being under the thumb of some other forces that I'm not really in charge of, and into a state of tranquility, peace, and contentment? And this is the card that I picked as a bridge between the two, and we've got the Three of Jars. So, I really think this is suggesting it's important to contact your friends, go out and see people instead of staying in your place all the time by yourself. Go outside and enjoy nature, put on a pretty dress, and maybe chat with someone you know. Really enjoy community and communion, and be very present. Be very present instead of worrying about the future. So that's just a very particular reading that I have enjoyed doing, and so that's why I got those 3 pocket oracles. And I don't know why I was so determined to have that available to me. I don't think I saw it anywhere. I just was convinced that it would be fun, and that there were that these oracles put together just cover a really wide range of experiences and states of mind. So I really value these little oracles, and I've had a lot of fun playing with them. So let's put that back. So that's my little put together deck. Okay. You can see another dollar store box, the Chill Time Cooler. This is actually the Great Lakes Oracle. And I found it at my local store. It did have a beautiful watercolor box, but again, it's too large to keep. So like the beautiful watercolor cover, I actually just have hanging on my wall. There was a nail, so I put it on the nail and it looks pretty. But yeah, it's called the Great Lakes Oracle, and it's all things kind of related to the Great Lakes. I think it's very beautiful, and this is the sort, I am a Cancer, but like I said, I do hate a sunny ocean beach, but this is what I like, this sort of freshwater energy. Pretty sunset. But yeah, and it's got some positive, some negative, but yeah, I think it's quite lovely. And it's got a little guidebook as well. And the specs. Very pretty. I would say, you know how earlier I was saying that if I could only keep 2 oracles, one would be a deeper reader, and then one would be that Aboriginal wisdom one, with just the emotion keywords. I think this would probably be the second. So I really value this one highly. I've had some readings with it that just had a high level of synchronicity as well, where items in the card reflect what's in the tarot card that I'm also using in the spread, or colors working together, or words that I didn't even notice until later on while I was journaling. And I just one of those things where you stop and go, oh my God, it just, or it takes you by surprise. But yeah, and it's so funny because I didn't think that I liked her art style when I first got into tarot, when I first was watching YouTube videos to see what was all out there, what other people did with their tarot cards. I was like, I don't need those. I don't really like that art style, but it doesn't matter. I get so much from them. I enjoy reading with this deck a lot. I love that they're round. It's a bit unique. I am curious whether I would like the Pocket Oracle a little bit more, because these are pretty big for my hand. Like, they are difficult to shuffle. And I think what I like almost best is the guidebook. So let me grab that. Is the Archetypes, the Archetypes Oracle. And the great part about it is, you know, this guidebook, it's got a little bit here, which always makes me think. I love the way that she writes things out. And it's got, you know, some other keywords for this archetype here. It's got, you know, various quotes around the side. And then it's also got like further reading, essentially, right? So like this one here is mentioning looking up the Greek goddess Artemis, right? So you could look into Artemis if you wanted to go further into this archetype. But there are other things where it mentions songs or poems or, you know, books, I think even. Just, you know, looking into other media, essentially, which I think is really cool. I just feel like this is a person who is really good at linking things together, seeing the common thread, right? So I really value this deck. And again, the packaging for all of Kim Cran's decks is really nice. So on the inside of the box was this storage container for the cards, and it doesn't have like marketing on it, right? It's just a beautiful artsy little box to store the cards in. And the box that it came in, even beyond that even, the box that it came in is also beautiful. And also doesn't have a lot of marketing on it. It's got this, the name of it, but other than that, you know, it's just art. Because she has like a paper, like a cardboard wrap around it, and that's what has the marketing copy, the QR or the, you know, barcode and all that stuff. So that once you take that off, you have a very beautiful box. So I'm not willing to keep this on, you know, where I store my decks. It's just too big. But, you know, I can repurpose it and use it for some other things. So, you know, I just think that's thoughtful, and I really appreciate it. It's the same with all of her decks, basically. Because, like, you know, this just looks nice. I like it. While I'm speaking of Kim Krans, here's her other one. And I also like how she's doing unique shapes. So, and again, a beautiful interior box that you can use to store it. That's a good size. And, you know, lovely backs again. And a similarly useful guidebook. So, you know, I would say even if you don't like the art style, just initially, I would give her stuff a chance. I will say I don't vibe as much with the Wild Unknown Tarot, which I think is funny. And I don't know about the Animal Spirit Oracle, just because I just got that recently and I haven't had a chance to work with it. But this Alchemy one and the Archetypes one, I think they're so unique, and they work so great, and I love the guidebooks for them. So definitely a valued. This is Secrets of the Ancestors Oracle. It's another one I got in that Hay House subscription. I like this. I don't use it for anything in particular because I can't think of one when I would. So what it is it's basically the like reimagined majors, which I like that part of it. If you just saw my video on the Empress cards, I actually pull these when they have a matching card and use them for those card comparisons. And I think this is a wonderful Empress. But they're basically court cards and court cards and major arcana. Like that's what this is. It's like a partial tarot deck. I mean, that's a cool Queen of Pentacles. And I love the art, but I just have not run into a time where I'd want to use an oracle that's basically just the major arcana and the court cards. I would just use a tarot deck. Like the art's so beautiful. Like it's seriously beautiful art. But you know, I don't know, maybe I should just go ahead and use it as an oracle deck. I don't know. It might just be a personal problem. I'm just not understanding. But I really like having the images when I do my card studies, because I think they're really beautiful and very different. Okay, I do have these two little decks. Let me zoom back out. Just Divine Doors. They're just what it says on the tin. They're just images of doors, doorways. And I like them. They have little quotes on the back. I don't find myself using these all that often. I feel like I just reach for other oracles. I like the doorway images though. I do like having cards with doorway images. I think I might want to use them as like maybe images to start off a spread, or, you know, just working with the cards, just keeping a doorway, like a liminal space in mind. That's, you know, it's maybe one use I've been thinking about doing with them, but I don't tend to use them in the same way as I do other cards. And then this one, I picked it up kind of on a whim. The problem is the backs are pretty, and I guess it does, yeah. It is a handy reference, I suppose, if I ran into these flowers on other decks. This one's so small, it had slipped to the bottom of the box, and I haven't been using it as a reference, but I'm actually seeing now some cards that I've been pulling up, or some flowers that have been showing up in some of my tarot decks. So I might start referring to it more for that. Again, I usually do a daily draw, so these little small messages, I don't know. I have to think of a way to use these. I honestly don't turn to these that often. They are cute though. Here's a good one. Anyways, let's shift focus to this. I got this at a plant store. They didn't have anything else witchy there. Oracle Stones. They're called Oracle Stones, okay? Is their company name? There we go. Look how cute these are. And they stand for different, like, celestial events. Like eclipses or rain or sunset. And I just love them. They're so beautiful. I like these a lot. These are unique. I've never seen them at like a witchy shop. So I like those a lot. They're just pretty. They're fun to handle. I can use them as an add-on, or just, you know, pick one for the day. Kind of hold on to, use as a worry stone. All right, I've only got four more. The Magickal Botanical Oracle. This is another plant one, but it's pretty intricate. And this box is pretty big. One day it's gonna get the axe. not today though. Okay, this one is pretty intricate. Do I have this upside down? Yeah. So it's got it gives you the name of the plant, and then it has really detailed imagery and a lot of symbols as well. So I like this one because I feel like there's a lot going on, and I like that in a card. So we've got thorn apple, but then we've got those Luna moths and these trumpet flowers. So very cool. And it's got a good guidebook as well. As you can see, it's pretty chunky. And what you might not expect, because it's Lo Scarabeo, it's entirely in English, the whole thing. Again, these are some. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way I'm doing large spreads like that with an oracle. Yeah, it's all in English, and it's huge. So I think this is a good deck. I don't know why I have. I don't know why they made the back one of the cards. My biggest pet peeve, but the cards are so beautiful that I really don't have any complaints. It's kind of a small number of cards. I think it's like 30, might be 35, 30. I see 33 there. But these are also like witchcraft related plants, and I really like that about it. Okay, same box style, you'll notice. This is a Compendium of Witches. It's Lo Scarabeo again, and it's got a good guidebook. It's not as big as the other one, and it does have other languages, so you don't get that much. In this one, it's actually a really short amount. As to be expected. I was surprised by that Botanical, Magickal Botanical guidebook. And this one I think is pretty unique. One, you get a ton of cards, so I like that very much. And then you've also got item cards, as well as people cards, like archetype cards. So you've got kind of like archetypes and tools, basically. And I think that is really unique. Yeah, just a very unique deck. I don't think I've got anything else like that, really. Not one that mixes both. You could separate them if you wanted to have, one that just has tools and one that just has the witches or the archetypes. But I like using them all together. I think it works just as well, right? And the art's beautiful. So I think this is well worth it. Two more. One of them is the Cantigee Oracle. This is definitely a deep dive deck. Okay, one, it has this huge, beefy guidebook. And two, it really gives you a lot to work with. So, here's one card, 24, and it's going to give you symbology, guidance, a bunch of different stuff there. And then it's going to give you, this is one that is good for a deep dive, good for journaling, but also for like prescriptive things, right? So like, look at all these practices that you could do, right? Like all of these things. So, and it's like that for every single card. I want to say this has 52 cards. Like, this is a really in-depth deck. And it has, it's got 52. And I think that's purposeful because you could do one of these every week for a year. It's called an Ecological Spiritual Guide and Creative Prompt deck. So you could have like a weekly draw card. I did that one time, but I didn't end up finishing out the whole year. I kind of just went back to daily draws because it was a bit much for me at that time to have monthly cards, weekly cards, and daily cards. That was just a little bit too much. But like, look, if you're looking to add more to, that you just want to play with the cards a little bit more, then, adding a weekly card like this, that's such a deep dive and has practices connected and everything like that, I think that's a great deck for it. And it does say in the table of contents that these are archetypes as well. So, I think the guidebook's a little heavy to use it as a quick clarifier, but, you could once you get the idea of, what the various cards are for. So, and I love the art on this, so I just really like this deck. I like prescriptive decks, sometimes, you want to do something good for yourself or your community or, nature, or just be more mindful, and there's so many options that you just can't quite narrow it down. And so it can be nice to have a card or a deck that helps you out with that. Okay, and we've got the last one here, and hilariously, this is actually the first one that I ever bought, for sure. This is just a box. It's a dollar store box. This one had a large, market box, so I was like, no, I'm not keeping that. This is the Witch's Anatomy Oracle. I love the art on this deck. I think it's so beautiful. And this is another one. I mean, it's good for clarifying. It's good for a deep dive. It's got a good guidebook. And, I think it's even a pretty good prescriptive one, because I think it has activities that you can do, or like suggested things to show value to, the different parts of yourself or your practice. I just think this is such a beautiful deck, and I really enjoyed working with it. I worked with it for a long time when I first started reading tarot. So this has a sentimental place in my heart for sure, and I think I got lucky picking up such a good one, because I kind of got it on a whim. I want to say I just looked at the various boxes and didn't even look at reviews at that point. So I just think this is a wonderful deck. Yeah, so I think that is all of the oracles and kind of a little bit about how I use them. If you've ever pulled more than 5 cards from the same oracle deck in a single reading, let me know. Maybe I just need to work my way up, get my bona fides, practice more or something. I don't know why I have such a block about it. I just, maybe I'm ascribing too much weight to them, and I should be more chill about pulling more cards from them at one time. But yeah, if you have a favorite deck or a favorite practice with oracle cards, let me know. But for now, that's all, and I'm sure I will have a lot of fun editing this. Oh boy. So, all right, bye.